this is happening.
The time being 6:04 p.m., I call to order the Franklin School Committee meeting. Meetings are recorded by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 29, as well as recorded by Franklin Matters. All right, so we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. The Franklin Middle School is honored to have Landon Kajowski, Jessica Hillcoat, Mason Donovan, and Joey Vittor, members of our unified basketball team, serve as our student representatives to lead the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Come on up, guys, and go ahead and adjust the microphone so it works for everybody. Unified Basketball is a program through the MIAA and Special Olympics that bring together students with and without intellectual disabilities to compete on the same team. The program is designed to foster friendships, build confidence, and strengthen social connections through shared experience of athletics in an inclusive environment. At Franklin Middle School, we are proud to support Unified Basketball and currently have 2 teams, blue and white, representing our school and community. The program is open to all middle school students and reflects the inclusive spirit and strong sense of community that we value in Franklin. Please join me in welcoming the students.
Okay, ready, set, go.
I put allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We did it!
That's good job. Someone's got a lot of energy. What are you doing? Just go. I'm trying to give you a high five. Come on. Okay,
And then we're going to hold a moment of silence as is customary. Thank you. If you want to escape.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Lyndon.
Bye.
Bye, Lyndon.
Bye.
So, routine business, review of agenda. Does the agenda look good to everyone? Excellent. Payment of bills, Callahan?
In order.
Payroll, me. It's also in order. FHS student reps.
Good evening. My name is Shervon Dev, and I'm the vice president.
And my name is Callie, and I'm the president.
And we represent the junior class. So currently in the whole school, we have a can drive going on March 20th and the 27th. The chorus and the orchestra have a concert on March 17th. The band has a concert on March 19th. The chamber has a concert on April 7th. Franklin High School will be participating in DECA's state conference and sending 105 students this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mock Trial has their Elite 8 trial tomorrow at the Moakley Courthouse in Boston. Regarding sports, cheer are now the state champions of Massachusetts. Girls track are Hawk champions and participated in New England and are going to participate at New Balance Nationals on March 12th and 13th. And spring sports registration is now open.
For the class of 2026, graduation is June 5th. The senior banquet is April 10th at Lake Pearl, and tickets have to be purchased by March 18th. The class of 2027 just recently had a fundraiser for prom, and it was a success. You can now buy tickets, which are $150. And they also just presented the lifelong learning program for the summer with Common App Boot Camp and help to write your college essays. For the class of 2028, MCAS is March 24th and 25th for English, and Math MCAS is May 19th and 20th. And lastly, for the class of 2029, they have their Science MCAS June 2nd and 3rd.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
congrats to the cheerleaders again. And who's acting, yeah.
Reese? No? Nope. All right. All set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow, John.
Thank you.
I'm getting them for Horseman Legacy.
Then we have the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start, I have 5 announcements, but I'd like to start with one, which is our student recognition this month, or this meeting. And Chloe, could you please just come up and just stand to be recognized as I read a little bit about why Chloe is here. So I'd like to recognize Franklin High School sophomore Chloe Bowser for an outstanding academic and civic achievement. She was recently selected as one of 12 statewide winners for the USS Massachusetts Historic Essay Contest. And as part of this honor, her essay will be published in the official commissioning book for the USS Massachusetts. And she will be recognized at the submarine's commissioning ceremony on March 28th in Boston Harbor. So these rotate, they're not always in Boston. This one is, and it's a tremendous honor and a tremendous accomplishment. So in addition to winning, each winning student's hometown will be permanently represented aboard the submarine. So for example, in the berthing area, there'll be a sign that says entering the town of Franklin as you enter that berthing area. And the sign will be installed on one of the vessel's berthing rooms, along with a commemorative plaque recognizing Chloe, our school, and our hometown. So Chloe is just demonstrating strong civic leadership through her involvement not only in this contest, she's also continually working as our Project 351 ambassador, which some of you are familiar with that program, where we nominate an 8th grader. When Chloe was in 8th grade, she was selected out of the 8th grade class as the representative for Franklin as one of the 351 communities in the state. And you stay on as she's the 2024 selection, and she stays on throughout her time at Franklin High School after they graduate from 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. So she continues to represent Franklin. And along with her Franklin Middle School ambassador, she's recently organized a winter coat drive, collected jackets in support of the Franklin students and the families in need. Is just one example of the work that they're doing. Chloe's accomplishment reflect the spirit of service, leadership, and scholarship that we strive to develop in our students through our Portrait of a Graduate. And we're very proud of her and how she has represented Franklin in so many different capacities. So if we could just take a moment in congratulating Chloe for some outstanding achievements and accomplishments. And I'll just say the support, I think, from her family that I would just recognize. We have her father and her mother here tonight. Major Travis Bowser is here, United States Marine Corps fellow Marine, and Allie Bowser, what's that? Oh, hoorah. Who are just tremendous supportive families of the Franklin Public Schools. Allie does a lot of volunteer work in her capacity to help with all of our PCCs and a lot of the work behind the scenes that doesn't always get seen. So it's no surprise to me that she's here, their daughter's being recognized, and I just wanted to acknowledge you both for the support to Franklin Public Schools and to helping raise such an outstanding young person, and we're proud of. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
So March 28th, there will be a commissioning. There'll be more of that ceremony. I'm sure I can follow up with some details on how that goes, but ultimately wanted to take a moment for you as a school committee to have the chance to acknowledge and just recognize Chloe and her accomplishments. So thank you.
Quick question.
Yeah, if
We
just
can
have
pause.
quick comments from folks.
I haven't read the essay. Is it out, like, maybe I missed it, but I've been talking about you and I want to read the essay. Just excited about that. Is it published somewhere that I can access?
I don't think that is published anywhere, but I was actually going to share it, which I was actually going to email tonight when I get home.
That's great. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, congratulations, Chloe. That's amazing work. No, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for letting me be here tonight. It's an honor.
Dave, you want to?
Yeah, just Chloe, this is absolutely fantastic. I know you say it's an honor for you to be here. It is an honor for us to be able to recognize you. Such a source of pride for this entire community. I don't know if you had heard but at the town council meeting just last, I think every single member was talking about you as such a bright spot that was kind of happening in the town of Franklin. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be talked about, I guess.
I think it's something really big, understanding all that permanent recognition and kind of the responsibility. That's something we as a town, everyone gets to brag about it, but we didn't do anything. Let's be honest. So I think that's really the great part of this is that's definitely gonna be an honor that you get to really cherish for an extended period of time. And I know, I was actually glad that Lucas brought up your family too. We always say it, it's really a team effort. There's a lot that goes into, what we're able to provide, but really it's the parents at home also providing a really fantastic environment and that kind of support. So really, all three of you, thank you so much for all the efforts. I'm really glad that you were able to receive the recognition for all that time you put in. And on behalf of Franklin, for us not having to do anything and get our name submarine, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
So I have continue with my announcements.
Please do.
Okay. So next, I wanted to just draw folks' attention to a segment of our website called News You Can Use. So did you know that Franklin Public Schools maintains a News You Can Use page where families can find information about community programs, activities, local opportunities for children and families? These listings are shared as a resource. They are often not necessarily affiliated with the Franklin Public Schools, but they are private businesses or different camps, different offerings that exist that we put in a folder for people to go to and access. So it's a wide variety of resources to explore. And if you go to the Franklin Public Schools page, you can search News You Can Use, or you can find it in, I believe it's in the About Us section. I will double check.
Community. Yeah.
It's in the
Sorry,
community.
I'm in here, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. So that is on our website, and I think it's a good resource. We continually update it. Mrs. Miller, I approve what goes in the folder, but ultimately, whenever I receive information, we try to put in what we think is relevant to the Franklin families, what would be relevant and accessible for a student. So that's where that information can be found. Next, I shared some budget materials that were from the Regional Legislative Advocacy Group that we had all of the superintendents in our area met and invited all of our elected officials to attend a legislative forum. It was a breakfast held in the Newton Town Hall, and basically the presentation highlighted several statewide trends and impacts to district budgets, particularly rapid growth in special education costs, transportation expenses, charter tuition assessments. Importantly, many districts are experiencing rising costs and even enrollment, even if it remains stable, meaning the financial pressures being driven primarily by the cost of services rather than the number of students served. The materials also outline several legislative priorities for FY25 aimed at stabilizing school funding. These include strengthening the special education circuit breaker reimbursement, addressing limitations to Chapter 70 inflation in the formula, maintaining minimum aid for districts, and improving transportation reimbursement, and possibly exploring comprehensive review of the state's school funding framework. And while Franklin continues to manage its own budget with local challenges, these materials make clear that many districts across the Commonwealth are facing structural funding pressures. I thought it would be helpful to share this with the broader regional perspective with the school committee. These materials are also public documents that I can put out somewhere in our budget webpage as well, just as information for ongoing discussion with our community. And I'll move on to spring conferences are currently happening for families and students, grades K through 8. And the early release days, one was today, tomorrow is the second on March 11th. And please, we did send communication on that, and those are currently happening, so I wanted to update. Final two announcements. I'd like to share that the Franklin Public Schools has convened an internal AI district committee to begin developing guidance and guiding principles for the responsible use of artificial intelligence across schools. This group will explore how AI can support teaching, learning, and operations while also ensuring the appropriate guardrails around ethics, safety, and academic integrity. As part of this process, the community can expect to receive a survey prior to April break to gather feedback from students, families, and educators. This input will help inform the district's approach as we work thoughtfully to integrate emerging technologies that are currently existing within our educational environment. And finally, just a shout out to the jazz band that held their jazz concert. I know Mr. Charles was sitting directly behind me during the concert, and Chloe was referenced 3 or 4 times as a soloist. She's everywhere. But ultimately, it was a cafe-style jazz cafe, and I thought the middle school and the high school jazz bands did a phenomenal job. The music was really well done. And this is all in context to the snow days we've had too, so some of the disruption to the day, they performed as though you wouldn't have known they had snow, missing class because of snow and whatnot. So just a shout out to the students, and also Nicole Wright, Leanne Rudsit, and Diane Pluff, all who are teachers and leaders within our music program. So it was really well done. So this completes my report. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee?
Yeah, I don't have any questions, but regarding the slide deck you sent out, thank you for that, by the way. I thought it was really informative. It was great to see that broader perspective and get insight into kind of what everyone's facing collectively. I wanted to call out specifically a few bills that are mentioned in the slide decks for people who, enjoy writing their state reps and in support of things. S2864 and H691 are regarding circuit breaker reform, which would plan to increase that reimbursement to 90%. And there are also bills regarding funding rural aid, which are S2870 and H517. And finally, the superintendent's, I know it's Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents also encourages support of the Healy-Driscoll framework. So I wanted to get that info out there for people who want to look into the specifics of those bills. And if you are so inclined to support, then you can write your reps. Thanks.
I echo the same comments. I think it would be a great idea to put it out publicly so that the community can view those reports as well.
Yeah, just one thing on the AI committee, internal AI committee. So can we get some presentation, or is there a plan for a presentation?
Yes, so the process is for the team to work. Dr. Rogers is leading that committee. Getting feedback from families is one piece, gathering feedback from students and educators. That team will then make recommendations of what the plan will be, and then our goal will be to present that out more publicly to the community. So yes, as soon as I don't know when yet. I know there's a lot that they have to still do. They're in the ground, kind of setting the ground. That's where the survey comes in. But ultimately, they have met at least once and twice, and they will continue to meet throughout this school year, and we'll continue to make our plans for the future.
So just trying to understand, is it on the application side, or is it on the educating AI side? Like, I'm just trying to understand, using AI, improving the teaching methods, or introducing AI to our students? I'm just trying to understand that.
So I think that AI is definitely it's infiltrated our society in many ways. I think, I won't speak for you, but I do know one of the major pieces around guardrails and how it's used and what's appropriate and how are we managing. I think it's something that's existing now. To say like we're banning it is not really realistic. I don't think that you're saying that, but the idea is to try to create some guardrails around its use and then look at the broader framework and picture. And I think it's come up a few ways. We've heard about AI. I'm thinking about Mr. Hansen just way back when you were running, and you made some comments that I think this is a very broad topic, but we're trying to think of how do we look at our acceptable use and fit that. Do you want to just fill in?
I can build on that a little bit. I think what you can expect from us is we will be serving the community, to students included, staff included, families, to unearth what are people's beliefs, how do people feel about AI, and ultimately what we'd like to share with you all before the end of the year are what are our guiding principles. So foundationally, we're saying humans are first before AI. We have some framework of our thinking based on what the Department of Education has put out there for guidance as well. We've attended conferences, collected data, information, things like that. So the goal is to provide guidance around what does this look like for acceptable use for students, for staff? How do we educate students? How do we educate staff? Because it's here. And I think turning a blind eye to it is doing a disservice to our teachers, to our students, to our families. So I think just at the core of it, it is really eliciting that feedback in this initial phase from, a few weeks, months ago to the end of year to say phase one, we want to have those core principles established, and then some guidance, guardrails, to Mr. Jagir's point, as we enter into next year to then continue with committee and parental or family interaction and continued support in that process.
Because it's an interesting topic, so just want to let you know, like, maybe we should consider some kind of a subcommittee to join with them, because that will mean from being from the ID background, we can bring in some consulting and then help the administrative team who's working on it. So just my thought, we can work on those things so that we can get some additional insights on from the actual application work.
If I may,
Please do.
we will in the community survey kind of elicit how could folks contribute in ways, because I do think that we have an immense resource in our families in the
Right,
community
right.
that are invested in this work, that are probably light years ahead of where I am, but certainly are there opportunities to integrate those perspectives,
Certainly.
be it school committee or our families, in the work as we progress into next year. So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the updates, especially with that legislative update as well. I really love, just for the whole community, as you kind of mentioned. Thank you again. Congratulations. Just the notion of all of the problems that we've been talking about now for, Alan, for 5 years, and everybody else here for many more years. It's more than just a Franklin problem. The way that the Massachusetts allocates funds for education, and the way that a lot of costs, especially transportation, special education, just continue to drastically climb higher than what a 2.5% increase can be, really kind of highlights the fact that it's not just Franklin. This is all across every, the other 350 communities around the Commonwealth. And I think the more information we can kind of get that out there as we share that to the community, hopefully you might be able to kind of just continue to break through that wall to really kind of see this is a big issue. Reese, thanks for also, we kind of mentioned the legislative items that were kind of brought up. I know our own Senator Becca Rausch, I believe kind of co-sponsored as part of a lot of those packages in the bill, along with actually my Framingham State buddy, Jake Oliveira. Now Senator Oliveira is one of the authors of one of those too. And so yeah, for folks that are interested, kind of dive into the text of that, take a look at that, and if you're feeling like it's moving the schools in the right direction, reach out to those the senators, the elected officials, and be able to kind of write your support for a lot of these great bills that hopefully might be able to kind of help give back and make some of the budgetary constraints that we've been living in a little bit easier as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think everyone else has covered it pretty well. On the AI discussion, I think that's definitely something we'll explore further as to how we can best solicit both kind of very purposeful community input, and also be able to provide support. So we'll definitely be evaluating that and see what we can do. And again, the updates, as Dave very well highlighted, the community that is experiencing challenges when it comes to the overall budget. It's something that is not unique to us, but it doesn't mean that we should really tune it out. I think Franklin is really trying to be very purposeful in the approach that we have. I do know that we've had discussions around a joint budget subcommittee with our colleagues over at Town Council and FinCom. I've actually had an opportunity to speak to the chair of the budget subcommittee from Town Council and set up some time. So for those who like scheduling things out and getting the news first, we're looking at something around the 18th of April So that'll have everyone in the room from FinCom, budget, or FinCom, Town Council, and school committee budget subcommittees. Great place for information. I think one of the big focal points is gonna be really what the story is, instead of just saying, hey, here's one number, here's the next number, here's where it works and doesn't, but really looking at kind of the broader picture and what we can actually look to do about it in the future. So due April 16th, I apologize. Please do tune in and definitely make sure that you're reaching out to us with any questions that you have. We're looking to do this as an informative event for for the community. So just felt it was a great plug, kind of following along the broader budget discussions. But that's all I have. Thank you.
So,
All right, moving on to guest presentations.
okay, so while I invite up the food service team of Colin and Aaron, right now would be a great time. They provided some sample soups and some salad. This is a good time. We've coordinated. This would be the best time for you to get up and get some soup if you would like some and salad. They're gonna have to set up warm up the projector and whatnot, but ultimately, we're excited to bring the food service department to you today. Want to be first, Dave?
I'm not shy.
To do a food service presentation. This is part of ongoing kind of public interest in some of the different aspects of the Franklin Public Schools. So Colin has worked really hard with Aaron to prepare some information for all of you. I hope it's helpful, and I think it's very informative, and I think there may be things in here as a community we may not even know. So without further ado, I know people are getting up. The idea was for this to be a little bit organic. Colin, no pun intended. But that it's flexible so that people could get up and listen, and do that at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, while some people are gathering, thank you for having us. I'm excited to be joined by Aaron to give you a food service update and kind of go through what's been going on in our food service world. Aaron can start by talking a little bit about what we have prepared tonight as just a little bit of a sample to show a little bit of a baseline of what our program is doing and working on. So if you want to take it from there.
So what we set up was a mock kind of salad bar, what we have at the high school. It's one of the serving lines that the kids go to, and it's one of our more popular ones. We probably do around 200 or so kids through that line every day. So this is just a sampling of 20 plus items we have over there, but I wanted to highlight some of the special things we do there. So all of the lettuce, the regular green leaf lettuce we use at the high school is from Little Leaf Lettuce in Massachusetts. So it's being grown, less than 50 miles away, and being shipped to us, a few days after it's been picked. So it's an excellent product. We try to have some sort of, we call it power salad, available on the salad bar. So we have a tabbouleh here that we have that's very popular with the kids. It's one of our more popular ones. Some other things that we use is like a bulgur salad or different things like that have these grains in it that are good for energy and sustainability for hunger. We also we'll be talking about it a little bit more in our presentation, but we had hired an executive chef this year, and one of the things he's doing is cooking fresh chicken instead of getting our chicken through USDA. That's a more processed item. So our house-made chicken is up there. We have a garbanzo bean salad, which actually is a very popular salad. A lot of people don't think kids eat beans, but we go through a whole pan of it every day. And the pasta salad is also one of our favorite items. We have regular things like bell peppers, carrots, cucumbers, things like that. Kalamata olives, banana peppers, a couple of different types of cheeses. We have feta over here. And roasted broccoli and cauliflower surprised me all the time how much we go through each week. We go through about 3 cases of cauliflower, and we just roast it up with some salt, pepper, olive oil, and 1 or 2 of the broccoli, which is, you would think kids wouldn't eat that, but they do.
For context, that's about 60 pounds.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a decent amount, yes. And then the soup, we want to show off some stuff that we do for catering. We do simple stuff, but we can also do pretty much anything. We've done some pretty high-level things in the past couple of years. This was a house-made roasted garlic tomato soup, and we served it with just regular croutons. But it's just like a sampling of some of the major things we do in our schools.
All right, and with that, we'll jump in to our new logo and mission statement. Aaron was able to put together a campaign where a student was able to design a new logo.
And so coming into this district, I wanted to kind of, after COVID and everything, kind of revamp and kind of reimagine what school food is. So as we're moving toward more scratch-made things here in Franklin, I thought a new logo would be great for that. So we put out a high school contest, and any high school student could be involved in it. They had to submit their logos, and we ultimately picked a winner. We had a small team that kind of looked at them, picked the top 3. We kind of went back to the students and said, why don't you change this and change this, just so it would fit, how we would do things. And we ended up with this awesome red apple with the fork in the middle. I think it represents like a lot of fresh and scratch made, but very simple. And the student actually, we gave her a $500 scholarship for winning the contest.
Thanks.
So, and it was great because she ended up going on to Rhode Island School of Design, so she was able to use it for some of her studies there. So it was a really nice contest. There's a picture here of her and her parents, and everyone was very proud.
And so this was a great collaboration with FHS and FHS teachers as well. We also included our cafeteria staff as well, and developed a new mission statement with them as well. So Aaron did a really good brainstorm with our managers, and if you want to finish that.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, it's the end of my first year, we got everyone together, all of our managers at our schools, and we did a SWOT analysis of the year and what we wanted to do, what worked, what didn't. We had all kinds of papers up, a lot of ideas, and at the end we kind of settled based on all of those conversations on this mission statement here. And we have this hung up at all of our kitchens and our offices, just to remind people each day like why we're here and what we should commit ourselves to each day when we come in to do our job.
So looking at the scope of service for Franklin Food Service, first and foremost, we administer the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. This is a USDA program, that's a federal program, and it is done pre-K through 12. It's at all our sites, and it's important to mention that right now, because of the state of Massachusetts, meals are universally free. They have been for a number of years now, and at this point continue to look like that will continue. This has been really beneficial in many ways, not only for the community and having an equity piece within the student population, but it also benefits the food service department as well by bringing in more participation, more revenue, and that has given us the power to do a lot more things in our program, which we will get into. I did want to highlight the pre-K program separately, just because we are providing meals for ECD students at both Oak Street and Pond Street. The interesting thing about the Pond Street location is that this is the Kindergarten Ready program. So next year, those students will be going into kindergarten, and this is sort of like a real, it is the real serving line that they go through. They pick their milk, they have to talk to a cafeteria personnel, they have to hold their tray and balance everything. And the interesting feedback that we got from our K-2 principals is seeing that some of those kids are going to know that next year going into kindergarten. And actually, that's a pretty big deal to already know going in on how to do that system. So I found that interesting. In addition, we also administer the free and reduced meals program. Despite meals being universally free, this still exists at the USDA level. Students and families can still qualify for free and reduced meals, and this still goes into state reporting, and it also goes in benefits other programs within the district for potential discounts, including the technology department, athletics, and transportation department as well. We also provide catering services. Aaron talked a little bit about that, and at last couple of years, including this year, that is bringing in about $50,000 in revenue a year for our program. So we do a lot of different types of events that occur on the school, whether it's a booster, a meeting, a PCC event, something is happening in the district and we provide catering services. It is quite a busy part of our program. In addition, we also contract and provide meals to the Amigo School that's located in Franklin. This is done all year, including over the summer. And the last 4 or 5 years, we partnered with the YMCA to provide different types of programs, but most recently, the Summer Food Service Program, which was hosted at Bellingham Library. So we provided the food for them, and those 2 programs bring in around $80,000 a year in revenue for our program. So looking at our account is a revolving account. Our program is self-funded. Any expenses or revenues, as it does not go into the general operating budget, we are able to fund all of our expenses through the revenues that we get. So as I mentioned earlier, the universal free lunch, that has been huge in increasing participation, making meals available for students. The access has been great, and that has caused a real big increase in participation, which has provided a lot more revenue for our program to work with. So in past years where, before free lunches started, our budgets were a lot tighter, and we actually needed the district to supplement costs such as healthcare costs and things like that. That is no longer the case with universal free meals. We're able to take that cost back, and we have been paying that for a few years. In addition, we've been able to do a whole host of investments into our program, which we would not have been able to do without universal free meals. The other part to mention about us being self-funded and a revolving account, the revenue that we bring in from food service only can be used for food service related projects. It can't be used for any other purpose, any other department. So we've been taking advantage of utilizing that money in our investments. So some of the revenues, where we get our money, we get it through reimbursement of lunch and breakfast meals. That's the primary part of the money that we get. As I stated, the USDA program does run for free and reduced, and the state of Massachusetts supplements the rest of the money into the program that the parents or families would have paid. We also get our sales through adult meal sales and the catering and contracted services that we had mentioned. Now this pays for everything that happens in our department, which includes food purchases, paper, supplies, chemicals, all of our staff labor, preventative maintenance and repairs, any small wares or kitchen equipment or upgrades that we need in our kitchens it pays for. It actually pays for our knife sharpening services, any marketing or training that we need to provide for staff, and any memberships or subscriptions that we need to run our program. I alluded to a lot of the investments that we have into the program. Over the last 3 years, we've been able to do a substantial amount in. So just to highlight a few of the bigger projects that we've done, at Lincoln Street and Franklin Middle School over the last few years, we've been able to completely take out the older walk-ins and put in brand new walk-in coolers and freezers. This project involved bringing those areas down to the studs, bringing up a new subfloor, new insulation floor panels, wall panels, and new compressors, pretty much brand new. in those two facilities. We're slated to do Washington's this summer. We've also been able to upgrade all of the dishwashers in our district as well. A lot of big ticket ones there. So Lincoln Street has a really large one. Washington Street has two, and Franklin Middle School has a larger one as well that we were able to replace over the last few years. We've also replaced a lot of dated serving line equipment. And so Franklin High School got some new pieces, Washington Street, Franklin Middle, and Lincoln Street will be next summer, not this summer. We've also been able to replace a whole bunch of cooking equipment, including combi ovens, convection oven, and conveyor ovens. Every one of our kitchens now has a combi oven, which is a really, really great tool to provide the types of menus that we are providing kids. And again, these are all investments that, you know, are not tied to the operating budget, and if we didn't have the revenues that we were dealing with right now, would likely result in capital requests or a need for operating budgets. We can't function as a kitchen without a walk-in cooler or freezer. So when that is going to die, it's maybe a 1 in 30 or 40 year project. We're taking advantage of it all now while we have this revenue coming in. So over the last 3 years, the food service department has invested just over $960,000 in kitchen facility equipment upgrades. And so we're really happy to be able to do that while we have that funding. In addition, we've also been able to provide new pans, new pots, things like that for staff. We've been able to add staffing. Aaron talked a little bit about the chef that we were able to add as well. We've been able to do a lot more local purchasing and, interestingly, to invest in some new stainless steel trays.
Do you want to go back one slide?
Sure.
I just want to go over some of the photos here because I don't think they're later in the slide. So that the first one under the administrator of the National School Lunch, so that's actually beef brisket. We did it last year at the high school, and it went over very, very well. We try to do something each month that's kind of special like that. And this year we're doing it district-wide. It's on the menu this Friday. And some of the brisket's actually from a local beef farm that we'll talk about later. The top one under Administrative District's fees, that's a pork roast. So it's a real piece of like something like a ham that you would have at Thanksgiving, and we hand sliced it up and served it with mashed potatoes and a nice gravy. We also did that with turkey this year, and then the catering there is like just like a sampling platter that we have for catering services. All right, metal trays. So I was involved in this project in my last district in Rhode Island. They had a big push in Rhode Island for sustainability. So it's pretty much a win-win, these new metal trays. There's a lot of research out there with microplastics and how they affect students' thinking and cognitive things when they're exposed to them over a long period of time. So, you know, we try to limit how much plastic we use. So the metal trays is a perfect win-win for this solution. They're last twice as long as a plastic tray. The kids love them. There's a few quotes at the bottom. I went around the first day that we did it at the elementary school, and these are two of my favorite ones. It said, "Look, metal trays, I love them." And then the next one is, "They're heavy, but it'll give me muscles." So you know, it's a little bit heavier than the other trays we were using, but you know, it's like if you just look at it, it makes the food pop than just like a plastic tray or the disposable trays. It also helps with, we do composting in our schools, we'll be on another slide, but it helps with the cost of the composting, because if you think about it, you know, thousands of trays are being used each day in our district, and those trays take up volume, and all that volume is a cost for our district to haul it away. So this saves money on that. One of the things about saving is basically within a year or less, the trays pay for themselves. And the trays will last 10+ years. So you're looking at, every year after the first year, you're saving costs. What else on those? They're also better for bacterial because a lot of times the plastic scratches up and you can have issues with that. The metal trays don't get any deep grooves in them, so it's definitely safer for that piece. And you don't get like this off flavor with them. You may think metal might give it an off flavor, but it really doesn't. Plastics actually give more off flavors than metal. Oh, the grant. So we actually, I applied to get a grant to help pay for the metal trays. So we were able to get some funding for it.
Great. So that kind of brings us to menus and some of the scratch cooking. I'm going to talk a little bit about the menu design, and then I'll pass it back to Aaron. I love the concept of the menu design or menu engineering. In this program, it's such a puzzle to think about like a student preference and what they're looking for a meal, and what a parent is looking for. Shockingly, they're different. We also have to meet the strict state and federal guidelines that we have to follow for nutrition regulations. It has to be something that our staff can produce in the kitchen, and it has to be something they can do consistently. And it also has to be something that the facility can handle in the volume that we are serving at. And to kind of round out that puzzle, we also need to have it meet our food cost goals as well. So there's like 5 or 6 pieces that we need to put into every single meal that we design for a menu. And it can get complicated sometime with some of the extreme differences in needs on each of these pieces. So I'll pass it to Aaron to talk a little bit about menus.
So we were tracking our local purchasing this year for the first time. I signed up with the state to pilot this new program that looks at our invoices and will sort out things that are local and not, and give us an overall cost of it. So we basically this year, I don't have anything to compare previous years, but this year we're about 18% of the things that we purchase are coming from a local, and when I say local, it's somewhere within New England and a little bit of the New York area. So it equates to about $83,000. Another thing that we did was the new chef. So to be able to do a lot of these local items, a lot of the scratch cooking, and they're pretty involved recipes, and to keep it consistent over all 4 schools, we hired a chef that can do some of these items and give them to the schools to kind of retherm them. And a couple of the pictures we have here are bolognese sauce is in the top right. So we pretty much made that from scratch. We used the pancetta and the veggies and everything in that. And we also used a local beef, ground beef from the farm I was talking about before. We have a little bit of roasted meat there, and that's from the farm again. That was a little bit of like an Asian style with the broccoli and beef and broccoli. We have a ramen soup right below that, and that's a scratch-made broth that we make in-house and distribute out to the schools. So then the schools really just have to cut up the veg and put it out, and the kids get to choose on their toppings. And the last one there is homemade meatballs. As you can see, rolling thousands of meatballs takes a while. So it's kind of a project that we do a little bit at a time, and we have a vacuum sealer that we're working with that can preserve the meat even after it's been cooked, so it's kind of fresh when they retherm it. And it's also made with some of the local beef that we get. And we'll be doing fresh meatballs at the end of the school year for across the whole district this year because of that.
Let us know.
Yes. I think it'll be in June, so something to look forward to in the spring.
Before you move on from just talking about the chef position too, a big part of this was thinking about too how our kitchen managers are managing a kitchen. They're setting up for service. There's a lot of prep going on in every kitchen, despite a chef doing some of these more complex items. There's still a lot of cutting vegetables, cutting fruits and stuff like that in each kitchen, and there is still cooking going on. A piece of this was taking that really complicated, time-consuming, meticulous piece and giving our managers more time to manage staff, work with students, talk to administrations, look at food safety. Like managers have a complicated job, and this part of the program can kind of keep some of the goals in other ways going, if that makes sense, because it is a hectic kitchen to run. So this is a beneficial position for our kitchen managers as well.
And some of the goals that we decided when we wanted to get a chef are the increase in food quality, and that was one of our main goals this year to do, and I think we've succeeded in that. It's been a great addition to our staff. We also want to promote growth with student engagement. We've been able to do a few more student engagement things this year, and that's really one of our step 2 for next year. That's going to be our focus. Staff development and operational support. So it's nice to have a chef to be able to support our staff when there's a harder menu item or just in general. And enhance efficiency. So since we're making some of these harder items in one spot and distributing it out, it saves time and effort on our part, so our staff can focus on the other things that they need to focus on. One of the things that we did get for the chef position for this year, I reached out to, it's called the Kendall Foundation, and they support a lot of school initiatives, especially in food, across Massachusetts, and we ended up getting a $10,000 grant this year to help offset some of the startup costs for the chef. So that was something that was really great this year. One of the other things that we're introducing at the middle school now that we're able to have just a middle school is we really changed the menu there to mimic more of the high school, more choices. And on Friday at the middle school and high school we call food bars, and it's a Friday food bar, and we have things like a pasta bar, a barbecue bar, stir-fry bar, soup and salad bar, baked potato bar, ramen noodle bar, mac and cheese bar, and chicken wing bar. So we rotate through those on an 8-week cycle, and the kids get to choose what they want. So there's a couple of options for each thing, a couple types of pasta, a couple types of sauce, a couple types of protein, and the kids really enjoy that because if they can choose it, they're more likely to eat it too. That's good for you. Some student engagement things that we're doing this year, and these are one of the things that are going to be growth for next year. So we're going to be doing even more of these type of things next year. So one of the things we did was we did a local corn shucking at the beginning of the year. So there's a short window in the fall where we can get local produce, and we took advantage as much as we could with it. One of the things was corn, so we got 1,400 ears of corn from Fisher Farms in Somerset, Mass. And we actually brought it all into the high school, gathered students, and we shucked it all. It took us just a few hours to do that many, and it was great. We got it all done, and then we distributed it out to the schools, and they cooked it, and pretty much they picked it that like the day before. We got it, we shucked it, and it went out, and we served it like 2 days later. So it was like 3-day old corn from when it came from a growing piece. So it was so fresh. Like you didn't even have to cook it; you could just eat it. One of the other things that we've been doing over the years is a local fish bake, but we added this year a student touch and learn table. So the fish that we're actually eating, we have that in its whole form out there, and all kinds of other things, all kinds of mussels and clams and shark and different types of fish that have different types of scales on it so they can tell the difference. And the kids come up for a couple minutes, grab it, poke it, do all kinds of crazy things with it. It's a great environment for it. And then we did that at the Washington Street School, and we're doing it next week at the Lincoln Street Schools. Another thing we did is on Dr. Seuss's birthday, we did a green eggs and ham at the elementary schools. So we had our staff dress up, we got all kinds of hats, we did a lucky tray, handed out Dr. Seuss books to the students. It's kind of hard to see, but that cheese stick there, we made little cat in the hat hats out of them and put those out. We dyed our hard-boiled eggs green. So it was a really cool event. The kids really enjoyed it, and I'll be making a video for it, and at the end there's going to be a QR code that scans right to our YouTube page, and you can see all the things that we've done here. We also do theme days, so I try to do something each month that is some sort of theme. So some of the things we do is like an Eat Around the World Day. So some of the things we did was tikka masala with jasmine rice, Parmesan, roasted cauliflower, and naan bread, Korean beef and rice. We just did chicken tamales with yellow rice and sweet plantains. We did a Moroccan chicken, couscous, and Moroccan mixed vegetables. So we try to get some different foods in there and get students to try different things they might not have had, and they love it. Like every single one of those meals was a hit. We do plant-based days. We try to fit those in ever so often, and the kids have been reacting really good to that. We've had spooky pasta on Halloween. Valentine's Day we did a pink pasta. Traditional turkey roast on Thanksgiving, and those kind of things.
So here's just a couple of the highlights of some of the local places we've purchased. Again, another goal for us for future years is to continue purchasing local and enhance our local procurement to include as many as possible. So you can see we have our local fish, local beef. Silverwood's been a great partner for years supplying fruits and vegetables. Little Leaf is a big feature that we have as well. And Shreebark is one of our newer ones that provides locally baked muffins and granola from Pawtucket, Rhode Island as well. So we'll be looking to expand this as well. So some of the outcomes that we've seen, participation rates are shown here. You can see that at the ECDC level, about just over half of the kids that go to school get lunch every single day. For the high school and middle school, 6 out of every 10 are getting lunch from us every single day. And at the elementary level, about 7 out of 10 are getting lunch from us every day. This has been fairly consistent over the years of universally free meals and up substantially from before universally free meals. I also want to highlight that breakfast participation at 17.2% may seem low, but it is actually pretty high comparatively to, again, pre-universal free meals. From the beginning of the year to the end of January, we had almost 250,000 meals, lunches served to our students. Just want to highlight, too, a little bit of our structure. So Aaron and I oversee the operations of the department. We have an assistant who does a lot of the clerical work and processing of different things. We have our district executive chef. We have a food service driver. We have a cafeteria manager at each site and a lead at all the larger sites, and a bunch of cafeteria workers. So altogether, there's about 45 of us that are working hard to serve lunch every day. And I just want to highlight, too, just the cafeteria staff in general, just how dedicated and hardworking and how much they actually care about their work. We have some crazy ideas, and they're just willing to go and take it and run. They take such pride in their work, and I've been thankful to work with such a great group for all these years. So I definitely want to just recognize them and all the things that they're doing to serve our kids every single day, and what they are actually doing. So another area that we are doing is food composting. So this was a great partnership with DPW and facilities. DPW owns this contract, and Facilities manages the day-to-day of the processing of it. This has resulted in way less trash going, like weight-wise, going into regular trash, and diverting that, a lot of it, into a more sustainable model. So AgriCycle is our contractor, and they take the food waste and a lot of our paper products that are compostable, and it goes into an anaerobic digester, which it has two outputs. One is to supply electricity to that local grid, and the remainder of it actually gets used for fertilizer on a lot of their farms in the area. So very responsible thing to do, also beneficial for our town and district as well.
I want to add to that, so there's an educational piece that the students don't get if you're not doing this in your district. Kids think that, you know, food just shows up at your door when you order it, or, you know, they don't understand where it comes from, where it grows, and having them sort their food at the end of lunch opens their eyes to, oh, maybe I shouldn't take that, and because it's going to end up here, and they're taking, there's less waste because they're taking what they know that they're going to eat. And you know, Colin mentioned that there's less going into the landfill, but there's less going into that bucket overall than if we didn't have this program. So it's a great educational piece for the students. It's not just there, you know, to help the environment.
So some of the future initiatives that we're looking at.
Yeah, so on menu and production, so we're gonna increase the chef integration. I talked about that on a previous slide, with next year being a focus on getting more student involvement, more scratch cooking at any piece we can do. This year was kind of like a test on what works, what doesn't, and next year, you know, we're finding that so we can do more and do better things. And increasing local sourcing, so working, trying to figure out where we can buy the most local stuff and get our hands on it.
We're looking to expand our community partnerships too. So thinking about community groups, we partner with the food pantry really closely, looking to expand into other community partners as well to kind of enhance what we're doing and just be more involved with the community in general. We're also looking to integrate the wellness committee more and leverage the connections within that to kind of push some of the initiatives that we have as well.
One of the goals for next year is employee engagement. So what are we doing to introduce new employees? So when they show up day one, are we doing anything to make them feel welcome? You know, coming up with a plan for that. Our employees that are seasoned, are we doing anything to recognize them? Just an everyday thing. What are we doing to show the employees that they really, you know, we care for them and show them that, you know, their job is very valuable. You know, we went through the list of who works in our department, and that last group on the bottom, that general worker, they are our heart and soul of it. We don't have that person that washes the dishes or cleans the tables or serves that kid, you know, we don't have a program. And I've worked in many districts before, and this is by far the best group and hardworking district I've ever worked in. Every single one of our employees knows the kids, they say hi to them, they ask them how they're doing, they know who's having trouble, they know who needs to pick me up, and they're always doing that extra mile.
Last area is equipment and facilities improvements continuing. So I'd mentioned that Washington Street walk-in replacement is due for this upcoming summer. We're also looking to upgrade our POS, or point of service system hardware, and Lincoln Street serving lines, again, not looking to do that this summer, but likely the following summer. And that will complete really the big ticket items that we need to think about replacing. So thank you for listening. I know we covered a lot of information, and we're happy to take any questions.
Say it's okay to bring out your phones. scan that barcode, and that'll bring you right to our YouTube page. We have many videos. I try to capture the things that we do in video because it's hard to explain it in words. You have to really see it. So we try to post something a couple times a month, highlight something that we're doing. And so please follow that and like our videos, share them out. Anything we can to get the word out.
Okay. Lucas?
Through the chair, just one final one. I know that you'll have questions and comments. Just a couple of things that I wanted to highlight, as you've already mentioned, but one, I get calls from superintendents, I see them at conferences, who ask me, can we talk to Colin? I'm like, no, I don't know, I'm kind of his agent right now. So he's busy, he's doing a lot of things. This is the former Food Service Director of the Year as well, and I know that they do a great job with the social media piece on our platform, so just, that was a piece. You referenced social media, but I wanted it to call it out. I think you do a great, consistent job with that. The second piece is, I do see online, two of our kitchen managers, Barb Corsi's online, and Deli Shelley Malloy is out there. She's not just deli, she's in charge of the kitchen, so they both have worked hard. Those are two folks that Colin and Aaron referenced that cared so much that they've attended to watch your presentation, which I think says a lot about their investment. The final thing is, how much of the operating budget is supporting the food service program and everything you mentioned today?
Right now, nothing extra other than like the structure of the schools, but like for our program, it's completely self-funded.
Okay. And I know in the past, when I oversaw capital development, there were, at times, a combi oven pre-COVID, and I remember advocating for those pieces, but the infrastructure and the things that you listed today are all part of when you say self-sustained. Those are things that we no longer have to go to capital to request because you're doing them internally?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Reese, you want to go first, closest to the food?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't even say enough good things about what you've presented tonight and the food that you've shared with us. I think we are so fortunate to have you working for us, and the way that you approach food and think about it. I really appreciate how you've looked at this as an opportunity to not just to feed our children, but to educate them and to create a way for them to be connected to their food. Everything you've done here kind of actively works against the alienation from the product that is so prevalent in modern society. And you know, everything down to the metal trays. And I can imagine your team feels really good about the food that they're serving to our students. So thank you so much for all of that. Thank you, Mrs. Corsi and Ms. Malloy online. Thank you to the student that designed the logo. I guess it's a night of feeling really proud about things I had nothing to do with. So it's just phenomenal. You and I had a conversation about food safety, because my child has celiac disease. A lot of children out there deal with allergens. And I wanted to ask you if you could share the information you shared with me when I was inquiring about my child, just about the protocols you follow to ensure food safety, because I think there may be parents out there like myself who kind of concluded, well, we've got complicated needs, you know, having food served in the cafeteria is not really an option. And I think you made it very clear that it is an option, and I look forward to taking advantage of it. But could you share that information with the community at large?
Sure. So it really kind of starts with training of staff. We do food safety and allergen training every single year with them. It's a big part of when we bring everybody back. Every single person gets that training. Our managers of kitchens also have a separate certification for allergies as well. And we have really strong protocols and systems in place to keep kids safe who maybe have some restrictions or allergies that will limit the possibility of any cross-contamination or cross-contact in our kitchens. So it's just something that we live and breathe, and we do, every kitchen does handle a good volume of students with allergies and various needs, and depending on the need, we take proper precautions and approach, and definitely communication with the parent.
Thank you so much. And if I remember correctly, I think you had also said that it's not really menu dependent either, that if what is on the broad menu for that day would not be suitable for a particular student, that you work to accommodate their dietary needs. Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah, so depending on the kitchen, the needs can be a little bit different. So there might be a kitchen that has a lot of gluten-free kids, and maybe they plan a specific gluten-free menu for that group of students if the main menu can't be modified or is gluten-free well enough. If it's a kitchen that has, smaller need, again, it's probably more of a one-on-one with the student or parent, depending on the age group, to make a proper accommodation for lunch. But we never want to turn anybody away, obviously.
Well, thank you very much. That's my question.
I mean, we are one lucky district. This is not the cafeteria that I grew up with, the square pizza and the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yeah, I mean, just all the thought that goes into your daily operations is incredible. I mean, the creativity with engaging the students, monthly themes, the logo, sourcing items locally, which I love, the grant funding for these initiatives with the chef, to keep things self-sustainable, incredible. The trays and all of the nutritional values that you're adding by incorporating all of these ideas. I mean, as a parent, I think I feel rest. If I wish I could get my kid to be one of the 7 out of 10, I will say that. I'm going to show him this presentation later. But I just, I think we can feel relieved that we're sending our kids. Some of these kids are eating 2 meals a day at school, and we know hangry kids are not good learners. So I just appreciate all of the creativity that was put into this. Again, our revolving accounts and the self-sustaining aspect is terrific. And thinking ahead to replacing what needs to get replaced so we're not in a bind when things stop working, and using, budgeting that as the years go by. So we're not in a bind. Yeah, thank you, and it's no surprise at all that you're food directing manager of the year. So, thank you.
So I echo my colleagues, the sentiments that they said. Definitely we are lucky and fortunate to have you, Colin, and your staff doing what they do. It's amazing just the creativity that you all do, knowing that we are a district that have had 2 failed overrides, and you are bringing revenue to cover your department in totality is amazing. I think back to budget meetings where people are like, think outside of the box, what else can we do? And this is a perfect example of thinking outside of the box. I mean, the catering. How long has that been going on for?
It's definitely been going on for the last 10 years I've been here. It's probably been going on longer.
Okay. And has it increased over the time, or is it like the same?
Yeah, it goes up and down. I think it substantially grew. I think once Franklin became self-operated and saw what we were able to offer, I think we noticed a significant increase at that point. But it's been pretty steady.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and just seeing that opportunity, the contracted services. I wasn't aware that we provided services for, was it the Y and other different schools?
Yeah, that's been going on for about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay. So different things that we're doing just to help bring in revenue, offset costs, which is appreciative of knowing where we are from a financial perspective. With the metal trays, I know that that's a savings there. I recall a couple years ago, I think a student had written a letter about potential metal utensils. Is that on the radar?
Yeah, so actually the same company that we bought the trays from does do utensils. We actually we have metal trays in 2 of the schools. We wanted to do the middle school this year, but we've had some issues with keeping our staffing at the levels we need. We're always just 1 or 2 off, and haven't been able to really get enough staff at the middle school to have metal trays roll out there. But those 3 schools, we wanted to get this tray up and running, and then possibly down the road, that would be like phase 2 would be the silverware. Silverware is a lot more complicated than trays. They're smaller, you lose them, you know, keeping them clean is it's a much harder thing because you have all kinds of small grooves in them. But that is something we do have in the back of our mind that we could potentially do in the future, and it would be a cost saving overall once we get it.
Sort of a step-by-step approach too. So this is like level 1. Once we get settled with that, we'll look at, you know, how to get to the next part of it.
Perfect. And then you had mentioned the trash and the reduction of the trash. So is trash solely in your budget, or is it globally?
No, trash is out of the facilities budget, I believe, right?
You brought up DPW and facilities. I can double check on
I
that,
think
but
DPW owns the contract for, but facilities might pay for it.
Okay.
We can check on that for sure. The trash removal and the composting does not come out of our budget, though.
But even though, so by the reduction of the trash, probably reduces our trash budget overall, like the impact to it.
So it probably reduced the general trash budget. There is a cost with providing the service of composting as well, though. So I don't have those figures, just it's not in my budget, but there is a cost savings, but there is a cost as well.
a cost shift.
Yes.
Because that has to be transported off-site as well.
Correct.
Cool. And then the last thing I had was around redistricting. I know that there was a mention of redistricting. Can you speak to like the impact of redistricting to your organization?
So the impacts to food service, so in our previous structure, we had 3 sites that were a middle school and elementary school in one building. We had 1 kitchen staff that served both of them. So pluses and minuses, of course, in every situation. We have now a full elementary school where one of those was, a full elementary where one of those was, and a full middle school where the third one was. So it's simplified some of the menus that we can provide. So we have, an elementary school, we can provide an elementary menu. We don't need to think about cross-utilizing menus as much for a middle school level and an elementary school level out of one kitchen. Each kitchen's enrollment and what they're serving at a time has increased. So that's created a little bit of a challenge and a different staffing structure that we have to accommodate more kids at once. We need more registers. With the different age groups, we need to think about, we've moved to more of like a one-on-one cashier to student ratio versus we used to have double-sided registers in most cases. So we've been kind of looking at the volume and have made some changes to just keep the efficiency up for the amount of kids going through. And just kind of, and it's an ongoing piece on how we talk to staff, talk about what staff is doing and how we can support them with, a different staffing structure if needed. We've also had to think about, again, equipment and structure of menus for how to accommodate the volume of food at one time as well. So managers have done an incredible job of managing that, for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate this.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. The one thing which my daughter really likes to see is the menu every day to see what is there, and she has some special, some favorites that she wanted to definitely not miss it. So thanks for taking care of the children very well, because I was also worried what kind of food being given, what kind of healthy food that we are sharing and all. The last visit when we had, so we explained it very well. So that is something like really great to see. One quick question on the on the revolving funds, right? You mentioned that you take care of your expenses and within the revolving fund. So what is the trend of this revolving fund, and is it like surplus, or is it like we are close to deficit? What is the current status of that?
So over the last, I'll give you like a 5 or 6 year history. At the beginning of universal free meals, we started noticing more and more of a surplus. So as we started to reinvest more into our program, it's kind of gone up and down. We've never ever gone lower than what we've wanted to go. It's always had a healthy fund in it. fund balance in it, but as far as like a surplus goes, it's kind of gone up and down depending on what our investments are for that year. Like this year, as an example, we are noticing the account balance go down because of the significant one-time investments that we've been through in this school year. But it will maintain at a healthy balance at the end of the year.
So, a quick couple more questions on
Sure.
I know you mentioned about not wasting food. Children is very responsible on that. For elementary, I believe there is a check done on every morning, like whether you're going to buy the lunch or not. But how about the middle school and high school? Are we doing the similar check or?
No, so managers, again, do a great job of managing this. There's a required tool that they have to fill out that's called a production record. And so they keep records of meal counts, and they understand very quickly into the school year what a trend looks like for an item. And even some of the newer items that we've tried, they have a really good guesstimate on how much to make. There's also creative ways that we can utilize leftovers and limit waste as well. So we implement a lot of different strategies to mitigate that.
Thank you. And the last one, so the breakfast adoption is kind of lower, right? So is there any specific reason for it? Is it because you're not able to get the children before the school starts, or any analysis done on that?
Yeah, I think site by site it varies a little bit. I'm sure you saw it in the numbers. It has to do with the setup, the time really that school opens to when a student can go and access breakfast and then either get to class, or there's also a choice in that matter of whether the student wants it or not. It's always available for them. But I think because of the structure and the timing, it limits the options that we can do because it needs to be transportable. It needs to, again, meet our regulations, and it needs to be something, within our staffing and kitchen facility, the amount of time it takes to produce and set up and be ready early in the morning.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I almost forget you came from food services, Colin, because of what you do in this district. So it's good to see you have some good help. So when it comes to utilizing the revolving funds to reinvest and improve sustainability for that department, the reason why we have the money to reinvest is because we're keeping costs below what we're being reimbursed, right? So the legal sort of statute would be that we use what is reimbursed for what it was reimbursed for, but we're doing a good job keeping costs low. That's how we're able to is that what's going on?
Well, reimbursement rates have increased over the years. I think when we look at structured expenses, and again, I talked about menuing items within a cost parameter. We create budgets every year, and we kind of understand. Like we go out to bid for items. We have contract pricing. We can sort of build a program with a lot of expected costs, and again, it's almost like running a restaurant. If you make the right decisions on different things, you can then have a little bit more savings. So
yeah.
It's about making smart decisions on how we use that money and what we decide to use, I guess.
Yeah, I guess giving you kudos for that, because I think that it's not like we're charging a ton of money and bringing in revenue. Otherwise, it seems like we're just doing a good job with what we're given. So thanks. I did just pull up the food services site just while you guys were getting questions, and I didn't know where to find. If somebody in Franklin wants to order catering through you, what's the method to do that?
Well, we are not a public serving
Okay, I didn't know
program.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so.
So it's within the school?
It's within the schools or functions being hosted at the school.
Okay.
We can.
Not that I think that the public school should be revenue generating, but it's come up a couple times. So I'm always like thinking. I love that you guys talked about employee mindset. It's like we are human capital, like business. So thank you for putting the employees first. I know that group get overlooked really quickly. I guess that's about it. Yeah, I was going to talk about all the culinary expertise and how I'd love to be able to bring in students more into it, but you hit that, you nailed that. So yeah. And as far as like us getting the cost of to Al's point about the composting versus the trash, and if we've cut costs and things, and whether it's DPW or facilities, it's still tied to Chapter 70. So it's still sort of ultimately what we can't use from our Chapter 70 fund has to go to supplement the outsides. So it does hit our budget in sort of a roundabout way. So it's helpful. So thanks, great presentation, great food. Thanks for the snacks.
Yeah, this was absolutely fantastic, incredibly informative, and delicious too. And so, especially with the 6 o'clock start time, usually my dinner has just been a bunch of cookies, and so this is a welcome reprieve. As I start, can we put, Chris, can we put up on the TV that last slide with the QR code? And can we just kind of remove that school committee bit? Perfect, thank you. If we leave this up just for a little bit, because yeah, this, Aaron, what you do with these videos is fantastic. I mean, when KP and I had the opportunity to kind of visit lunch over at Washington, you kind of started talking about this. And so for kind of folks at home that want to learn more about how your kids' meals are made, you guys do an amazing job kind of putting that all together. So definitely want to just kind of have this stay up just for a hot second so folks can kind of take a look at that. Thank you as well, just right at the beginning, kind of bringing up the free and reduced meal plans as well. I know that's something we've talked about, I've mentioned ad nauseum, but that even though everyone kind of gets that, it's a universal breakfast and lunch, that folks can still kind of go and apply for free and reduced application. And that opens up the door to so many opportunities for, reduced rates. When it comes to transportation, I think you mentioned it was the Chromebooks, a lot of like the student activity fees and such. It opens the door for so many. So if you or your neighbor might be kind of struggling right now, please still consider, jump online, take a look at that free and reduced application, and still kind of pursue that, even though, thankfully all of our meals are kind of being taken care of right now. All right, just a few other notes. I loved really just the growth mindset that you're kind of taking to the food service that we have here in Franklin. Talking about those long-term strategies, if this is metal trays are phase 1, and maybe the utensils are phase 2, and so on and so forth. Just that long-term strategic planning to food services is fantastic. And despite the balance you kind of have with the revolving account and the way that you kind of the revenues coming in, that you're still looking for those grants. Like you mentioned, it was like just recently a $10,000 grant. Is that correct? That's fantastic. And it's just those bright spots that sometimes we kind of have to keep banging or bringing up to kind of say, as Al mentioned, we kind of go to FinCom and they're like, what's that out of the box thinking? There's 1,000. There's sometimes like too many to kind of just pull out. But it's great when we talk about it. So I really appreciate that. One question is, Nadia mentioned, these lunches are not what we kind of grew up with. And so for maybe folks who are looking at some of this stuff and looking at these videos and it's amazing and saying, well, when I went to school, it was sloppy joes and dried meatloaf. Like, what's the response for why we're doing this instead of that?
Well, I think it's part of our passion. I just can't go to work every day and just serve those type of items. We do have a mix. If you were to see our lunches, we do have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But kids still like that. But it's about, for me, and I think Colin has the same mindset, it's about exposing them to things they might not have had before. Exposing them to the fish, exposing them to brisket. We had a high school kid who said, I never had brisket before. It's the most amazing thing I ever had. Like where's this been all my life? So those kind of things are, we're not just serving them food, but we are in a school, and schools are about education. So, bringing that back is kind of our focal point on what we want to try to do with our food. So how can we fit in education in our realm? And I think serving these different things and exposing them to them and showing them videos of where it comes from helps with that.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic. I'm sure it absolutely does. I'm sure too. It's if you and your friends, everyone's eating the brisket, everyone's eating the fish. Much more likely to kind of go and try that than when mom and dad kind of make it at home.
Been talking about kids.
Yeah. Just a few other points. One, you all both kind of mentioned like the revolving account, and many of my colleagues did as well. And so really just kind of want to just reiterate. I feel like there's some things we can always kind of just continue to beat over the head with. When it comes to the money in the revolving account for the food services, that's not, we can't use that money to hire a kindergarten teacher. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is just, it's a lockbox just for the food services. And right now, again, with like the line item 300 with the operating budget, besides just the overhead, the structures, the lights and such, food services is kind of self-sustaining within the revenue and within the revolving account. Is that?
Can I also add
Please.
another layer to this? They raise revenue to pay for employees' health care. So it comes, that's also not in the operating budget. That's a contribution. So that is the one use of revolving where it's collected for food service, for food services health care. That money is also going into the well, it wouldn't, we just made a shift, but ultimately they have been contributing to their employees' health care through the revolving account. That's the one direct connect to an employee where that money is raised and it goes to. So just to add another layer to self-sustaining, there's no real asterisks next to that. That really, and I also would argue, you could argue electricity, but I would say the infrastructure and all the work you've done, like the walk-in coolers, those are in the school, whether we had a food service program run by you or contracted. That's done now, and that's part of the school, that's built in. And the energy efficiency with the new coolers and the new equipment is also a layer of, I would just add. So I don't mean to jump in there. And can I just say one last thing? I mentioned Colin. I will say Colin could never do the job he's done for us with operations if he did not have Aaron working with him. He is outstanding. He is just, everyone respects him in this district, and anyone who's had the opportunity to work with him or be around him knows it's contagious how he feels about the program and what he does, and it's just amazing. If you see him when he brings out that fish display, I'm thinking about that day, and just your engagement with kids, it's real, it's authentic, and we're very lucky to have you. You're also accredited as a nutritionist, so not every food service or assistant food service director has these types of qualifications, so we are very lucky in this community to have Colin and Aaron. And Colin couldn't do some of the things that I've asked him to do outside of this if he didn't have someone right there leading with the kitchen staff, with the kitchen leaders, and Aaron, you do a phenomenal job, so I just didn't want to leave you out of there because it's really important.
Thank you. And absolutely spot on, especially when it kind of comes to so much of that, like that cost avoidance. So I think you had also, we talked about like the investments, like with the walk-in cooler and such. What was that number again that you, Colin, I think you had mentioned like the total number of.
For like our 3-year investment.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just over $960,000 for facilities and equipment upgrades.
960, I'm just gonna round up to $1 million. So I remember it when I'm, because that's, and it's those type of costs that if we were to not have the program kind of running at this amazing level that you guys are doing with these investments, with this long-term kind of strategic thinking, would some of these items kind of come on up for a capital request?
Or facilities budgeted equipment replacement as part of a schedule of required upkeep across buildings, like boilers, things like that.
Yeah, so just again, for everybody, folks kind of playing along at home, we kind of look at just the overall ecosystem of the town of Franklin and the budget. Every dollar that you all are reinvesting back into the food services is money that then is free and open for when the police kind of come with their capital request for some gear, or fire doing the same, whatever the situation is. And that's, every single kind of cog in this machine is constantly working. And what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. And it's amazing. And I really thank you and applaud you guys. And one last note, just when you talk about student engagement, I know my little guy recently kind of wrote in with some food suggestions, kind of talking about adding extra items to the bagel. And he promised that I not kind of reach out as a school committee member, and I didn't. And so he wrote his letter to the director of operations, and Colin, when that letter kind of came on back, his face lit up. He ran downstairs. He got to go tell his grandparents. I just, everything that you guys are doing in terms of the student engagement, and you opened with the logo, that's a Franklin public school student who did the logo. It's amazing what you guys are able to do, and truly, it's just night and day from what food services looked like when we were growing up and going to school, and I applaud you for everything that you're doing, and especially for the amazing dinner that I had tonight. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, so, there's been a lot of commentary, and I've actually still got a few things left, which is impressive, given what everyone's had to say so far tonight. And honestly, it's a little challenging to figure out exactly where to start. I think there's just kind of the early comment is, again, thank you so much for the food. I thought it was really great seeing the diversity of what we're able to offer. The flavor was fantastic. I have a standing request to take some home. And I do know, I understand that we cater just for the schools, but I'm sure that if we were to pass our menu over to the town council, given the fact that they're usually meeting for about 4 hours, starting at 6, we could probably jack up those numbers a little bit as to what our catering numbers can do. So again, thank you for that and the effort. Like, I know that it's, for us, it's very easy to say, hey, great, we get some food, but it's not without you expending effort to it and really kind of working to coordinate. So thank you for that. So one of the things that it's been kind of a pervasive theme here, but I had commented on it actually before y'all did, right at the end of your kind of closing statements, and it was talking about how much I really enjoyed the commitment to the community that your team has. You could tell the way you spoke about them. You could tell the way you're talking about the different things that they do. I know from my own children's interactions with them, it is such an easy to kind of overlook part of the day, but when it's that kind of consistently positive, when it's always that kind of experience that the students, they remember for the right reasons, you don't have that same kind of negative connotation, the negative context. It's very easy to say, oh, what was your favorite part of the day? And it's like, all right, recess. Or, I got to see my friends. And I think what your staff are able to put together here, both in quality and then also the quality of the interactions that they have with the students, are really fantastic. And I appreciate you all calling it out. I think it is something that is very important. And 45 people is not a small group. And to have that kind of consistency amongst 45 people is really, really saying a lot for both the training and also their dedication on the individual level to our community.
And I just want to credit, again, kitchen managers on creating such great cultures within the kitchen. Whenever you walk into a kitchen, you can just feel the camaraderie. It just is a positive feel when you walk into any of our kitchens during a prep time.
And that's wonderful to hear. And I think that really, it all feeds back, and it's much easier to work in those kind of environments and want to contribute to it and be a part of that. So thank you for working on that and continuing to kind of support and develop that. There were some comments around the capital side of things. I do know that there was some pointed comments that we had during the capital budget around, like, why don't schools cover everything? And I think in some instances there's always going to be challenges. Some capital expenses are very large and they're not naturally enveloped into a school budget. But as I'll follow my colleague's suggestion and just round up to $1 million. That's a huge amount of money when it comes to not having to go to the Capitol and ask for it. These are major expenses. They're things that are much more cost effective. They're much more energy efficient. And as you pointed out, so like the combi ovens, they allow us to provide some of these fantastic food options. To be able to consistently do that, and basically it kind of never comes to the table, I think is one point that I feel is missed somewhat often on the school budget. I'm guilty of this myself, having been somewhat involved in the school budget over the past few years, but there are definitely parts of our overall structure that are kind of like the ducks in a pond. Right? You never talk about them, you never worry about them, they don't show up on your radar because they just work. And everything is done, they never come to you asking for things, or if they do, it's that like little thing right off on the side. And I think, when people really understand the scope of what you do, the amount of money that comes in and out, and the efficiency with which you're able to continue to invest and really support, it's easy to say, oh, nothing's being done, or oh, there's always these asks, there's always these expenses. There's never, the necessarily the payoff And I think it really does a disservice to y'all. And I personally apologize for not having highlighted that earlier, with just how well we're able to run the kitchens here and the cafeteria through all the different aspects. And again, continuing to reinvest, not coming, not needing that kind of additional support. And, paying into the healthcare, I think that's really something that we need to make sure that we're highlighting, especially now, we're now paying the town an additional sum from this budget to help support healthcare for your staff. So it's really just a fantastic setup that you have, and I want to make sure that we continue to highlight all that you do from that perspective. I do really, really appreciate the local purchasing, and also how you're highlighting some of the different farms and sources that you have. The fish side of things, that is, I don't think I ever had fish in high school growing up. Middle school, definitely not. Again, pizza and peanut butter sandwiches. And really the complexity of, I think, handling that, getting it in fresh. And I think maybe when I was talking to you, Aaron, you said they know which boat. We actually had one instance where a guy from Franklin had caught that fish and it ended up here that day. And I think that really, it is fantastic to have that information and to really make sure that we are going above and beyond to make sure that we're providing nutritious and sustainable food for our kids, but also that it's sustaining the communities kind of around us. We're not just sending it off to some big packaging conglomerate out west. We're doing what we can to really kind of support our local economies, and do appreciate those efforts. And I think Lucas had really highlighted this as well. The position that we're in, and Ruth Ann had commented, we get X amount of money in no matter what. We could spend it however we wanted, within reason. Obviously, the food costs you actually have to provide for the students. But I think the way that we've been able to manage this, and the way that you, Aaron and Colin, have been able to really engage, provide fantastic foods, diversify the different sources of where that food comes from, bring things in for food safety and cost savings, such as the metal trays, biotech, everything is stainless. I can really appreciate how important that is. It really says a lot about the strong and strategic leadership that we have and how lucky we are to have it. It's easy to say, oh, money's coming in all the time. Life's easy, right? We just kind of keep going. Something breaks, oh, now I'm going to worry about it. Now we might be going to Capital, asking them to help us, buy an oven. But instead of kind of sitting back and waiting, you two have really led the charge to invest and plan for the future. And it's put us in a position that I think, that's why we keep on getting phone calls from others. Let's keep screening aggressively. But it really is something that I think the community doesn't always see. And I think it's important that they do and understand just how impactful that is for our students. So thank you both. Thank you for the efforts. Thank you for tonight. And I'll pass the menu on to town council, and I'm sure that they'll be reaching out soon.
Can I just say something?
Please do.
Can we bring the corn shucking down to the elementary level?
Yeah, we could do it anywhere. It was kind of a late idea I had right in the fall, and I was like, well, let's just try to get it done. But yeah, we can pick a different school each year, or like divvy it out and have the schools do their own with the kids. So yeah, and there is to-go containers over there. So if you want to take some home, you can. So please do.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, discussion action items, we have none for tonight. Discussion only items, we have monthly financial report.
So the report has been included in your packet. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer it. This is the last time I'll say this. This is part of your monthly meeting where we are providing those documents for you at one of the meetings per month for the school committee as a way to just continue to keep you informed and updated, and it's also in the packet.
Any questions on it?
Is interest earned on funds in the revolving accounts?
No, just, I believe, food services department, because it's a revolving fund, but set up differently from the other school revolving funds. So we do not earn interest, no.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So seeing no further questions, we'll move on to information matters. So school committee subcommittee reports and liaison reports. So superintendent evaluation, as I mentioned last time, we're starting to set up plans for this. We'll be organizing meetings with the team. Budget, as I mentioned, we're looking to schedule the joint budget subcommittee meeting for April 16th. We'll be looking to have a conversation on the side just with the school budget subcommittee sometime in the next month. So we'll be looking to get that scheduled, let everyone know as to the timing on that. For policy, Callahan?
Yeah, so we met last Friday, and we had a lot of great discussions. There'll be stuff kind of coming down the pipeline, talking about change in facility fee kind of structure, the possibility of opening up a lot of the use of our buildings for-profit, just as revenue generators. And then also, there's so much work done by Colin and Josie. Really want to thank you guys so much. And can you remember, right, Josie, her exact title with the Franklin Public School System?
It's a long title.
It's the Operations Assistance and Data Specialist position.
And
I came up with it. I'm just kidding. I'll probably get corrected on this publicly, but yeah, it's a long title, but she does operations and also does the state reporting and the data collection for that requirement that we have for state reporting. So that's part of her role.
Yeah, and she's, I think I mentioned the policy, but worth every character on that title. You guys did fantastic work, and so I'm really excited about what we're going to do moving forward. And at this moment, no meeting set. We're just trying to figure out the meeting cadence. So that's what we got. Oh, and actually, I apologize. We also had some great discussion about the championship signage. I don't know, I could speak to it, or Lucas, if you want to.
It's up to you.
Starting with our January meeting, I know there's been a lot of discussion. I remember back when Camille was kind of talking about it 5 years ago. But basically, when students reach a certain threshold, a lot of times it's around sports and they win the state championship, how are those kids recognized? Because I know there's a couple of signs, like right off of 495, but that also introduces a lot of problems. That's through the state owns the highways, so then we're kind of petitioning through the state to try to figure out what to do. And so started the conversation back in January. Then Lucas gave some amazing updates about some possible ideas.
I'm happy to fill in. So this is a good example of some town and school collaboration. So we had some of our booster organizations reach out about this. State land and how you get signs updated is it takes time. So there was a joint consensus from town administration, DPW, schools around using town land to look at highlighting state-sanctioned team wins. So when I think about our performing arts, like our theater, who made it very far into their championship round, when I think about our athletic teams, when we think about our unified sports that won gold medal, there's a bunch of different state-sanctioned team events that are recognized. Often those are the same groups that we invite into school committee to be recognized. So there is a push and an effort here to have a self-funded project that doesn't come from the school's operating budget to raise funds through contributions through booster organizations and some fundraising opportunities to get one state championship sign, welcome to Panther, whatever it will be, near when you're coming from the police station down Panther Way to the right in front of the tennis courts, having some signage that represents the state championship. So we're doing some background work of how many state championships have been won. We can't have a 40-foot sign. We're fortunate that Franklin had one, but ultimately try to look at how can we create something that's lasting, representative, classy, and really represents the students that have earned over the years that opportunity. And then it would create the mechanism, and we wouldn't be in this continual cycle of, we have a few state champions that don't have any signage right now, and it's constantly like, how do we come up with a mechanism that has a way to honor the past, address some of the more immediate needs that are current, but then also have a future to it. So policies being worked on will go to the subcommittee, and then ultimately the policy, the decisions will lie ultimately with the school committee around some of the decisions that will need to be made and votes But ultimately, we're doing the groundwork to make that happen, and I want to credit some of our booster organizations that have been involved. There'll be a presentation on this in the future, but ultimately, some work's happening in the background that we're excited to engage in.
If you're still up with the Horace Mann Legacy Subcommittee.
All right, so we had our kickoff meeting 2 weeks ago. And it was absolutely fantastic. It's such a great eclectic group of folks from all around Franklin, as we're really kind of figuring out what are we looking to do. And so a lot of the big kind of key ideas talked about almost having like a drip campaign, talking about the year of Horace Mann. As we look to kind of just educate the overall kind of community about Horace Mann, what he advocated for, and just like the story that he was telling. And then also kind of leading back to the Horace Mann campus that was kind of voted on in last term as well. What will that look like, and how will that kind of be presented back and in a recommendation to the overall school committee as we kind of move forward. And we're working on figuring out when the next, actually our overall kind of meeting cadence will be. And but I do also want to say we kicked off with, we had sugar drop cookies. So we found a cookie recipe that Mrs. Horace Mann wrote up in a cookbook published pre-Civil War, and Mrs. Callahan baked the cookies, and it was fantastic. So more to come with the Horace Mann Legacy team.
Can I add? Save the date, May 4th. This is very important. We're having a birthday party. It's going to be, is it the 3rd or the 4th?
His birthday party is, his birthday, Horace Mann, is May 4th. And then I believe the Historical Museum will be throwing a party for him on that Sunday, May 3rd. Yes. They will kind of publish more out, but yeah, I believe it's going to be May 3rd.
And we're going to really hype that up and make it really, really fun. So it's going to be a big, big deal. So anyway, go ahead.
Great. All right, joint PCC, Nadia?
Yes, we met last Wednesday, March 4th. Now that the field trip planning is complete, the PCCs are planning year-end events and teacher appreciation planning is underway at all the schools. A few things to note, at ECDC, they had their book fair at Pond Street this year, and it was a huge success. They highlighted that it was one of their most successful fundraisers. So that was great to hear. At Lincoln Street, there's a K-2 pizza night this Thursday, and they're also having their book fair over the next 2 weeks. K-2 is the 9th through the 13th, and 3-5 is the 16th to the 20th. Again, Bag Bingo will be a joint event with Lincoln Street and Washington Street. That's scheduled for May 15th. It'll be at Dean College this year. Tickets are $60 each, and they will go on sale for $8. There is also a downtown sports night on April 11th from 6 to 8:30 at Washington Street. There were a couple of reassignments for the leadership team due to some commitment changes on the members, so that's all been worked out. There's a Red Sox Day planned for May 8th. There's 300 tickets reserved, and they're on sale now. They just completed their 3rd can drive of the year. There's a parent night out scheduled. The date is still to be announced. That's at La Cantina and Downtown Sports. They're also participating in the collaborative with Creative Corner Art during the months of March and April. If families register, $10 goes to the PCC. They're also planning a cornhole tournament as a 5th grade fundraiser. At the middle school, the Kindness Club is hosting a food drive to support the Franklin Food Pantries. Donations can be brought to advisory homerooms from March 2nd to 23rd. The 6th grade is donating cleaning supplies, personal care items, and the 7th and 8th, canned goods, crackers, hot cocoa, pantry items. There's also a book fair going on this week and next at the middle school. A Butter Braids fundraiser is currently underway until March 30th. There's a Santa Fe fundraiser on March 19th, and the 8th grade is also doing end-of-year planning. finally, we wrapped up the meeting with a great discussion on field trip planning, objectives, and process for next year. And our next meeting is May 6th.
Thank you. Community relations, Al?
Yep. So our last last newsletter went out on the 5th of March, last Thursday. We do have a couple kind of in-person events. We're partnering with Steve Sherlock and Franklin Matters regarding their Q&A session, and then also the in-person at the Senior Center. We do have a school committee event. Office hours is on the book fair on the which date, Stephen?
March 19th.
March
It will be
19th.
alongside of the Lincoln Book Fair.
Okay, perfect.
Between 5:30 to 7.
Yeah. And one of the things that we're trying to do this year is have the quarterly in-person events, so that's one for the families to go to. We do also have our next newsletter coming out on the 2nd of April, and we will begin our strawberry stroll planning. So I sent you all the invites. June 12th or the 13th if it's a rain date. So more to come.
Fantastic, thank you. And then SWAC and mental health, Reese?
And no updates, Student Wellness Advisory Committee is meeting next week on the 17th, and Mental Health Task Force 12 hours from now, so we'll have, yes, see you in the morning, Paul. But that's
Sounds great, thank you. All right. So with those updates aside, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Lucas?
Okay. I recommend approval of the minutes from your February 24th, 2026 school committee meeting as detailed. I recommend the acceptance of $5,096 from the Washington Street K-2 PCC for field trips as detailed.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as detailed?
so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion or questions? Seeing none, vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So being the first meeting of the month, we'll go through good of the order. Anyone have any comments about ways we're running things, suggestions, modifications?
Yeah, one, just want to say, I'm so glad to hear about the joint budget subcommittee, kind of going, informing, that's always fantastic and informative. We also, is it a joint meeting that we're going to have next Wednesday, the 18th? Okay.
Yes, thank you for calling that out. So we do have, the town council has a regularly posted meeting for next week. We'll be joining them because the topic will be schools. So I think Lucas might have some.
Sure, so it was in my new business, but I would mention, just reiterate, March 18th, 6 p.m. start. It's a regular scheduled town council meeting. It will be also a special school committee meeting so that all of our school committee can attend as well. And as Dr. Griffith said, it's a joint meeting we're having 2 representatives from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed who will present on Chapter 70 funding. I think it's going to be really informative. Ms. Malati explored this opportunity, coordinated it, and I just learned recently that they're going to actually plug in Franklin information as part of their presentation, so it's not just the hypothetical, but also we'll have components of it that are actually from our town and some of the data that they'll use. So I don't want to over-promise, I haven't seen anything, but I do know that they did state that, correct, Ms. Maloney?
Yes, they did. So they are going, they do this kind of presentations throughout professional developments that we all attend. And they use certain towns, since they are coming directly to Franklin, they will use Franklin in their example, in their presentation.
So it'll be a Chapter 70 overview, and then there'll be an opportunity after that part of the presentation where we'll have an opportunity for, what's that?
Q&A?
Yep, Q&A with them, and then an opportunity for school committee and town council, since it's a posted meeting, to have an opportunity to engage in dialogue together, either on the outcome of the Chapter 70 or any other information that's deemed suitable for that night to continue to try to build partnerships and work together to fund our town and schools.
Wonderful. That's fantastic to hear. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Just one thing. It's just I would like to thank the administrative team, and I think Lucas is being a popular image in the Facebook now with the shoveling pictures that went in viral.
Shoveling pictures.
Oh.
So I mean, I'm really glad to see all of you, on the ground working on clearing the snows, and we hardly had 2 days of school disruption, but I've seen some school districts had like more than 3 days and sometimes a week as well. But as a community, worked together, and then we were able to get everything in operations within a couple of days, and got back to work. Thank you for all your support, and thank you the DPW for excellent coordination on getting the work done, and even the trash pickup. There might be some delays, but they were able to get everything set up within that same week and up and running. Thank you all for your relentless effort. Thank you.
And then they turned on the heater and now all snow. Excellent. All right. So now we're going to move on to citizens' comments. Are there any citizens in the audience, in person or online, who would like to comment on an item that falls within the committee's purview? If you're online, feel free to raise your hand. If you're in the audience, feel free to step up to either of the microphones.
Excuse me. Steve Sherlock, 13 Magnolia Drive, Community Information Director for Franklin Matters, Franklin Public Radio. Not to make it a regular thing, but I do have a couple of public service announcements. One to reinforce the March 18th, 11 a.m. It's available in person at the Senior Center. It's a monthly Q&A and conversation, so I appreciate your participation. I look forward to it. Any other community is also able to participate. There's a form already on a Facebook event page. It'll be shared out through Franklin Matters as well, so you can get the Zoom link to join. Obviously, I don't make that too public because, just the way it is. The other piece in regards to some of the radio shows coming up. So Town Administrator Jamie Helen and I had a chance to talk last week. That's on the radio tomorrow, 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m., 102.9. Always can remember that. You can go to Franklin Matters as well and find the actual audio so you can listen to it on your own time. The next Thursday, same timing, is a Board of Health meeting. So if you've never had a chance to go to a Board of Health meeting, the audio, about 45 minutes. They do short meetings, which is good because they start at 5 o'clock, so I get to do that, record it, and then get to council immediately to do their longer session. And then Friday, I forgot already on Friday. But stay tuned, good radio coming, and Q&A as well, and both remote and in person at the Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else with comments, new business?
Okay, for new business, we mentioned the March 18th meeting. We will also continue our work. We're going to start hitting that time of the year where we'll start to continue with some of the department overviews, but ultimately get into some of the goal updates on the school improvement and district improvement goals that'll happen in this year. One thing that we will be doing, the school committee meetings that we have left between now and June, our team is taking a pass at just checking to make sure that we are pacing ourselves so we don't have short meetings with really long ones to overstack. I can't promise it every time. Discussion is part of the meeting, so I can't control that, but what I can look at is the content and how it's prepared to make sure that we're looking to pace this effectively. So that will be shared as well. I did talk to our chair and our vice chair around sharing just some of those ideas where we see some of the work, but ultimately we'll share that out ahead of time so you can get a sense of what's going to happen between now and June. Because the budget cycle has moved up in for Franklin Public Schools, this has allowed us to be really more thoughtful and planful around how we're reporting out on goals, because typically in previous years, the goals in the budget were happening simultaneously, and it definitely was a stack. So we're working hard to kind of push this out and model this out for the year, and you can expect more information on that. And we'll continue with that regular business. We'll provide more details as we move forward.
Excellent, thank you. And now, seeing nothing else on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn the open meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.